Welcome back to another episode of Ty Sports Picks 24. Ty Sports Picks 24. Sorry starting so late. Just had to get those picks just right. I had to, think it over a few times. When Aaron Rodgers is going against the 49ers, it's a very competitive game. First game of the season, but here's the picks. There you got it. We got San Francisco money line. Do not take the points. I think this is going to be a close one. Both teams have high-powered offenses. Both teams have pretty good defenses. I'm looking at like a 24-21 or like a 27-24 type of game. It's not going to be big scoring, but it will be big plays here or there on offense and defense because you got Brock Purdy with all his tools back. I heard Ricky Pearsall may try to play with the wound that he took in his incident. We're not going to go too deep into that, but hopefully they'll hold him out and make sure he's healed. But Brandon Ayuk should be playing. You got McCaffrey. They also got a couple of backup running backs behind them that seem pretty good from the preseason. Kittle, the whole gang's back. Deebo Samuel. But you can't doubt Garrett Wilson, and you can't doubt those two running backs that's they're protecting and running for Aaron Rodgers. And that's a big thing that I saw during the preseason was not only do they have Allen from Wisconsin, but then you got Mike Williams out wide to go along with Garrett Wilson. So I think Aaron Rodgers with his precise passing and just his leading the defense along with the offense of the New York Jets, this is going to be a rejuvenated team. Robert Saleh should be really excited, to finally have a winning season. I believe that they haven't had a winning season since he's been the head coach for the Jets. But this won't be a win, but it'll still be a pivotal game just to show what they have moving forward. What you having guys like Quinnen Williams up front on the defensive line. Also having linebacker unit that's pretty stout, led by C.J. Mosley. And then, you got Sauce Gardner, arguably the number one cornerback or DB in the league. But it's all around when you talk about San Francisco's defense. You got Bosa, you got Ufunga, you got the tackles on the inside. You got arguably the best linebacker in Fred Warner all around, pass coverage, blitzing, stopping the run, pass breakups, interceptions. Then you got his running mate, number 57, got hurt. Greenlaw, I want to say his name is. So it's just a lot going on. They also drafted Jones from Florida State last year, the cornerback. So that's always a stout defense. And then the way Kyle Shanahan runs his offense to keep the defense healthy and off the field with those long running drives with McCaffrey and even with Deebo Samuel doing the reverses, I just feel like this is going to be an action-packed game. This is a great Monday Night Football game. Only thing that can make it better would be John Madden announcing it. Unfortunately, it will be no RG3, but shout out to the Kelsey brothers. I believe Jason Kelsey is part of the new Monday Night Football crew. There goes the picks. You guys put the picks in. As far as the baseball, you got the Cleveland Guardians. That game should be starting soon, so hurry up and put that in along with kind of flabbergasted right now on the Los Angeles Dodgers along with the Minnesota Twins. There's no WNBA tonight, so look for some picks for that as we move closer to the playoffs tomorrow. And also, let's go revisit some of the games from yesterday. We had a lot going on yesterday as far as the NFL. Of course, we know about the incident with Tyreek Hill. We're not going to speak disparagingly about law enforcement, but I will say this, we're all wrong at some point in our lives. It's okay for you to admit when you're wrong, even if you are in an authoritative position. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I was afraid. I just didn't know what was going on. I was trying to take safety measures. We just want to make sure everybody gets home safely. I saw Calais Campbell do interviews, the former Hurricane and now the Miami Dolphin. He's a legend. He's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame. Made a lot of big plays yesterday, a sack, a pivotal stop, him and Jalen Ramsey on a running play on third down. So it was great for the Dolphins to have that comeback win. Also, a lot of people were saying Pittsburgh is not the team. Pittsburgh is not the team. But, hey, they showed up yesterday, You can only do so much when a team continues to deliver, and they definitely delivered, Pittsburgh may not win, the way you want them to win. They went very ugly. Justin Fields at last minute had to start because Russell Wilson's dealing with a calf injury. He ran a lot. He threw a little. He didn't even throw for over 200 yards, but he didn't throw any interceptions. He was proficient. He was just dink and dunk, and he ran. And it may not be sexy, but you saw Lamar win better than that, but similar to that as a rookie. Now, I know you'd be like, Justin Fields is a fourth-year player. I want to say, he's a fourth or fifth-year player. So you can't compare him to rookie Lamar. And he's at this point, he's still not as good as rookie Lamar. That just shows you that Lamar is a lot more than a running back. A lot of people criticize him and say he can't pass from the pocket. That's a technicality. You got to pay attention to what people say. Can you pass or can you not pass from the pocket? Which he's thrown from the pocket here or there. But if he can run and he can do bootlegs, they had a whole offense that San Francisco built a dynasty off of with John Elway. No, I'm sorry, not John Elway. Sorry. Apologize. Joe Montana and Steve Young, where all they did was fake to the running back and did bootlegs, threw to the tight end, went deep to the wide receivers. And Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time, and one of the greatest tight ends, Dwight Clark, benefited from it. J.J. Stokes benefited from it. A scrambling quarterback. Not saying a running quarterback, but don't let people poison your mind about our African American quarterbacks or even some of our white guys. Josh Allen, Steve Young. Johnny Manziel, I know he's not an NFL quarterback, but there's a lot of guys that use their leg. Baker Mayfield, he's at the fastest, but he's willing to run. It's not always about the wheels. Sometimes it's about the wheel. But let's go back over the whole week one leading up to tonight. So on Thursday night, we started off with a 27-20 battle with the Ravens and the Chiefs, where a toe out by Likely, the tight end Likely, where he got hurt a couple of plays before, came back in, thought he caught the game winner. But, I guess he wears a size 15, should have wore a size 12, and he would have won the game. Then we got the Eagles and the Packers, where the Eagles were actually trailing the Packers. They came back. Saquon Barkley had a big day, 24 carries for 109, 2 touchdowns on the ground, also a receiving touchdown. But Jalen Hurts, though he turned the ball over quite a bit, he did throw 2 touchdowns for 278. But the big story is Green Bay Packers losing Jordan Love for a couple of weeks to an MCL, not an ACL. Then the game we were just talking about, Justin Fields threw for 156, but he was efficient. He didn't throw any interceptions. Najee Harris had 20 carries for only 70 yards. So all of these guys, they're pretty much average, a little above average. I wouldn't even say they're above average. They're average players on the offense, but the defense is, outstanding. When you hold Kirk Cousins and company, Bijan Robinson, the wide receivers they have, to nothing but 10 points on the road. They went into Atlanta. Atlanta didn't even score in the second half. While the Steelers had 9 points in the second half. So that was a great showing by the defense and an average showing by the offense. Now, when you go to Buffalo and the Cardinals, Kyler Murray can strike at any time. They nearly beat Buffalo. 34-28, Buffalo made it out by the skin of their teeth. Josh Allen had to be superhero all over again. Shout out to James Cook. He's getting more carries now. He got 19 carries. The rookie Keon Coleman had 51 receiving yards. Expect for that to increase as he learns the playbook and gets better. The Bears, they won, but it wasn't very impressive to me. Will Levis actually outdueled Caleb Williams. Will Levis threw 2 interceptions, only 1 touchdown, but he did throw for 127. So that was kind of ugly. In the passing league where all the rules are made for quarterbacks and wide receivers, are the defenses just that good week one? Are some of these offensive coordinators just not doing their job? Believe it or not, there's some professionals that they need to choose a different profession, but that's just my opinion. Now let's go to New England and Cincinnati. Everybody said that the first-time head coach Gerard Mayo wouldn't be able to get it done, but he's doing it his way, the New England way, the Patriot way, the Bill Belichick way, with a lot of players that Belichick left and even brought some guys back in Jacoby Brissett. So they did not start Drake May, which is a great decision. They used Ramondre Stevens out of Oklahoma on the ground, 25 carries for 120 yards and a touchdown. They gutted it out 16-10. The defense was all over the place, shutting down Joe Burrow, holding him to 164 passing. Jamar Chase, fresh off the contract dispute, or still in the contract dispute, had 6 catches for 62. So New England's defense is dead serious. Yeah, they are something to take serious. Okay. Okay, now Houston and the Colts. I told you guys, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you. But you see, a lot of these passing yards are down. I haven't seen the 300-yard passer yet. I don't believe Mahomes did. Did Mahomes do it on Thursday? No, nobody hit 300. He hit 291. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with these passing teams. But C.J. Stroud had 2 touchdowns and 234 on a 29-27 win. But the biggest play of the game was off the back foot. Anthony Richardson threw a dart right into the bread basket, but it wasn't enough. He threw it from one side of the 50, I want to say like somewhere in the 35 or the 40-yard line, all the way right in front of the end zone to the 5-yard line for a long pass. So that shows you the freakish athlete that AR5 is for the Colts. They just have to cultivate it, but it's no shame in losing to the Houston Texans because they are an up-and-coming team. Speaking of up-and-coming teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars gave the Dolphins everything they can handle, but the leading passer from last year and the first 300-yard passer of this year, 333 and a touchdown, Tua Tagovailoa. Give him some props. We're not going to speak on the off-the-field stuff that happened with Tyreek Hill and what happened with Calais Campbell. I touched on it, but like I said, we're not criticizing anybody. It's just everybody, got to admit when they're wrong and get past our mistakes. We just want everybody to be safe, But 20-17, the Dolphins had to come back in the second half. They held the Jaguars scoreless, and they scored 13 points for a comeback victory. So way to go, Dolphins. Then the biggest surprise of the day, nobody likes to be wrong, but I was big wrong. I thought it would be a close game, maybe a touchdown game. Boy, was I wrong, but I didn't take the points, I don't think. Carolina got shellacking by the New Orleans Saints. They made it look like a college football game, 47-10. And the crazy thing about it is Derek Carr, he only threw for 200 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. And then Alvin Kamara, good to see him back in good shape. 15 carries for 38 yards and a rushing touchdown. So they're doing big things out there in New Orleans. Okay, and speaking of New Orleans, they're having a big dispute online. Nicki Minaj chimed in. A lot of people chimed in because Jay-Z is over the NFL halftime for the Super Bowl, and they feel like because Jay-Z and Birdman have had a rivalry for years, and Rock Nation has tampered with different artists, from here or there. It's always been a back and forth. Who got more money? Who's the better exec? They feel like Jay-Z's holding old grudges. Even Nicki Minaj says that Jay-Z has a grudge against her and Birdman, and that's leading to them holding back Lil Wayne from a spot in the halftime show that he fought hard for. And remember when it was in Los Angeles, they had Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent in the whole aftermath. So you can't say it isn't a regional thing. I know 50's from New York, but he was riding with a West Coast label. And I don't want to get into rap because this is sports, but that's just a lot of interesting things going on with that halftime show. I hope that's not true. Jay-Z just said that it's because Kendrick Lamar is the best artist right now, but people seem to differ. Hopefully, Kendrick, maybe you do a feature with Lil Wayne and bring him on. I know it's short notice, but, you got a couple months. The Super Bowl is until February. I know you got your back and forth. Maybe not because, you fell out with Drake and Drake has signed to Lil Wayne. So, and on second thought, I don't know. I don't know if that ever happened, but I hope they figure it out. Maybe a pregame show with Fox. I know Lil Wayne does a lot of business with Fox. Give him his flowers while he still can, take them. Shout out to Lil Wayne. Okay, now the Raiders and the Chargers. The Raiders fought hard. The Chargers got a garbage touchdown. This was 16-10 for a long time. Yeah, I think it was 16-10, and then they scored and make it 22-10. It was a fight in the end zone. We don't advocate for that, but I do advocate for this. Gardner Minshew, a lot of people criticizing him. He did his job. 257, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They only scored 10 points, but hey, it wasn't all on him. I only saw 1 bad pass towards the end of the game. As far as J.K. Dobbins, 10 carries for 135 and a touchdown. I don't know what Jim Harbaugh has going on, but he's got J.K. Dobbins looking like the Ohio State J.K., looking like Frank Gore in San Francisco. So way to go, Chargers. Okay, now we got Geno Smith. He only threw for 171, 1 touchdown and a pick, but he did get the win. He handed it off to Kenneth Walker. That ran the ball 20 times for 103 and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, Mr. Reliable, 6 catches for 77 yards in a 26-20 victory over the Broncos. Then the Dallas Cowboys. This game was over at halftime, 20-3, but the final score was 33-17. Dak got his money. CD got his money. They didn't play Dalvin yet. Ezekiel Elliott looked pretty good, rotating in with Rico Dowdle. It's going to be a long season. People keep talking about playoffs. Let's just stay one foot in front of the other. The Cowboys got to win. Let's congratulate them for that. Now let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Florida everything, SEC everything, Dolphins, Cowboys everything, and Tampa is in Florida. 37-20. Baker playmaker. He threw for 289 and 4 touchdowns. So if you have Baker Mayfield on your fantasy team, then your reality is great. You got to take a quarterback that has a chip on his shoulder, and now they have a nice little running game with the running back they drafted on Bucky Irvin out of out of Oregon that went now in Tampa Bay. They go along with White that does a lot of things receiving, and then on top of that, you got Mike Evans that's had 1,000-yard receiving year for like a decade straight to go along with Chris Godwin that's been more healthy lately. So they got a lot of remnants of those old Tom Brady playoff and Super Bowl teams that they had in Tampa Bay, and Baker is, taking on the mantle that Tom Brady left behind. Now the team that Baker lost to in the shootout in the playoffs in the second round last year beat the team that they actually beat in the first round, which is the Rams. Took a loss to the Lions, just like the Bucs took a loss to the Lions. Rams lost first round, Bucs lost second round, Lions lost third round. Well, the Lions continue to win. Matt Stafford did throw for 317, so he joins Tua Tagovailoa for only 2 quarterbacks that have hit 300 yards thus far this season. So if you're doing the player props, stay away from those quarterback yards for right now. It seems like the defenses are catching up to those spread offenses in college and in the NFL, because we saw Oregon struggling a lot. But to stick to NFL, Matt Stafford had 1 touchdown and 1 pick, throwing for 317. Montgomery for the Lions ran for 17 carries and 91 yards and a touchdown. Jameson Williams, that says he wants to be the number 1 receiver in the league this year. Well, he's starting off on the right foot, 5 catches, 121 and a touchdown for the Lions. So though Matt Stafford won on the statistic side, Jared Goff won on the scoreboard where it matters. But both quarterbacks performed well in a 26-20 game. I saw some of it. I'm going to go back and rewatch it because I'm that much of a football fan. I think it was an instant classic in part 2 of the Rams versus Lions. Will we see part 3 in the playoffs? Who knows? But to get to other topics, I hope you put those picks in. The game is about an hour away for Monday night. Pittsburgh won in the NFL, but Pittsburgh also won in college. Way to go, Pittsburgh, for that close win they had over against University of Cincinnati. The Bengals and the Steelers and the pros is a rivalry, but Cincinnati and Pittsburgh Panthers in college is a big rivalry too. So way to go, Pittsburgh. That was one of my picks. They had a comeback victory. I like what Pat Narduzzi is doing with those guys. He has a lot of 3-star South Florida guys, from the Northwestern, the Central Florida schools, Tampa schools. He loves to come down here and recruit. Same thing with Graciano. So a lot of you young kids that are out here watching, I want you to go to the U. I want you to go to Ole Miss, Alabama, but there's nothing wrong with some of these ACC schools, the Big Ten schools, Maryland. A lot of them, they want you, The object of the game is Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, the league. They all got NIL. They all got scholarships. Okay, now, as far as Miami Flow, I'm a big Miami Hurricane fan. Shout out to the U. I was watching the Miami Flow show, and he was saying something that I've been saying, and people were arguing with me. He was talking about how the star system had DJU from Florida State as a 5-star, but Cam Ward, even though Cam Ward doesn't really count because he played in the wing T offense. I had that in my first high school before I transferred, and it limited what he could do because they ran it a lot. But he went to the Division II school. Despite that, tore it up, broke all kind of records, won the Player of the Year award in his second year in Division II. Then he did 2 years at Oregon State, tore it up. They don't want to give Oregon State and the Pac-12 his credit when the Pac-12 did great last year. And a lot of former Pac-12 teams like Cal just beat Auburn. They're fresh out of the Pac-12, now they're the ACC. So they swear you down that the Pac-12 sucks. USC just beat LSU. So I don't know how accurate that is. And we all know how real Utah is, the crown jewel of the Big 12. Okay, because even on College Football 25, Utah is the number 1 most prestigious program in the Big 12. So shout out to my cousin Kenny that plays for Utah. You're at a prestigious program, bro. Okay, now Colin Coherd was speaking on how similar thing. He was speaking on how a lot of people that are talented in what I do in broadcasting, in journalism, in sports, he roots for those guys because he said when he got out of college, he was able to recognize, unlike a lot of people, that he had privilege. He was living in Vegas. He got with the right company, and he took off ever since. But he's met a lot of people that they were talented, but they didn't get in the right organization, and it made it look like they were bad. He gave the correlation to his new business partner that joins him on his podcast. And also, he gave the correlation with players like Sam Darnold, Jared Goff. Remember, Jared Goff, this is his second comeback. Before he got with Sean McVay, went to the Super Bowl, then they fell out. Remember when Fisher, the old coach from Tennessee Titans, had the Rams after he got fired from the Titans because he kind of killed Vince Young's career? Well, he kind of did the same thing, killing Jared Goff's confidence, supposedly, as they say, because I don't know if Jeff Fisher has his own side of the story, but that's two quarterbacks that say they didn't really feel him. But long story short, when him and Sean McVay fell out, he goes over there to Detroit, and Jared Goff's in the NFC Championship again. So sometimes you need to be in the right scenario. This even goes before my time. A lot of Raiders fans remember Jim Plunkett. When he was in New England, he was left for nothing. The Raiders picked him up because Al Davis, similar to Jerry Jones, believes in a lot of guys. I saw Jerry Jones have some linebackers, late round pick guys, and they were balling for the Cowboys defense. Same thing at cornerback. They really know how to do player personnel. But to get back to the topic, some of these owners and some of these organizations pick up guys that nobody else will give an opportunity, and you question it, and then they become the Cam Wards. They become the Sam Darnolds, the Geno Smith. Because remember, Geno, when he was with the Jets, he's so sorry, he's this, that, and third. But he's the greatest quarterback to ever play at West Virginia, even greater than Pat White, maybe. I don't know. Or major. I forgot what his name was. It was Major something back. This is before my time, but I remember doing the research. They had a quarterback that took them close to the national championship in like '89. At West Virginia, because they have a long history of African-American quarterbacks. I can't think of the guy's name. I'll try to find that for you. I don't want to stop the show, but I'll try to find that. But another quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, despite what you may say with the Adam Gase Dean, you can't lie. You can't deny he is day and night. As far as his progression, because Tua, when he was playing in his rookie year, his second year, that was like, man, a nightmare. That was a nightmare, man. Versus now, it's like, man, Tua, like I said, he was the first guy out of several games to throw for 300 yards yesterday, and arguably, you could say that Tua is let's say top 10, if not top 5, even though he led the league in passing. But he's definitely day and night compared to what he was with Brian Flores. And Flores is a winner, but, everybody isn't everyone else's cup of tea. You know what I mean? So these are a lot of different guys. Even look at Max Crosby. He didn't play quarterback. But, I'm just making an example because I've been saying this for a while. And it's crazy that people are saying it too. How if you get in the right offense, or you get in the right scheme, it can make a world of a difference. And that's what I've always been trying to convey to people. A lot of people, they'll like Kamani McLean. I hear a lot of people speaking down on him with the Florida, and I feel like people at Florida that actually in the building, they may not be totally pleased with him, but they're not down on Kamani. That's a lot of outsiders that are not even a part of the program that are criticizing this kid when it seems like, the people that actually have a voice and some say so, they don't have that viewpoint of him. They feel like he, just a young guy. He needs to, develop, and they're there to help him do that. Because you see that a lot where, if a guy does good, they want to crown him and make him the Heisman Trophy winner. But then if a guy does bad, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was stalling. But I was meaning what I was saying. The guy, his name was Major Harris. That was the quarterback I was thinking about in West Virginia. Yeah, but Geno's amongst, Major Harris, Pat White, a lot of those great West Virginia quarterbacks. But back to the topic, as far as guys being in the right surroundings, that has a lot to do with your career. Even Josh Allen. Josh Allen, you don't remember his first 2-3 years? They were like he sucked, and then he got with the right guys, Brian Daboll and them, and now everybody conveniently forgets, and now they're calling Josh Allen better than Lamar Jackson, even though they have a similar playoff record. It's like people are captured in the moment, but as a player, as a coach, as a hardcore fan, you have to play the long game. I was watching Elixir.com, not to correlate everything with this, but just talking about what rich people teach their children. A lot of poor people and poor-minded people think in the moment. A lot of rich people, just like these owners or whatever, they think long-term. Successful people think long-term, so don't think overnight. So even with Sam Darnold, he did horrible with the Jets. And the Jets are a common denominator with a lot of quarterbacks doing horrible, for years. But then he bounces around. He goes to San Francisco. They help him, refine things. He learned how to practice right. After 5 years in the league, he said, I studied the way Brock Purdy done it, who's only been in the league 2 years, now going on 3. And now you see Sam Darnold's winning big games. What was the Giants and the Giants and the Vikings score? It was 28-6. Sam Darnold do 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 208. He was proficient. He didn't blow the roof off, but nobody blew the roof off except for Stafford and Tua, and only Tua won. So you were on 300 yards, or do you want to win? But that was just very interesting that Calico Herd and even Miami Flow are all saying the same thing. Everybody's starting to get over this whole star system, this first round pick, and it comes down to this. In the offseason, you guys want the tall, the fast, the strong arm, but once the season starts, you want wins and not losses. And sometimes wins don't come the way you want them to come. You just got to take the win. The last thing I want to speak on that was kind of funny, Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy, they were asking him about Obi Zigbo, Obi Zigbo. The Russian names, the Polynesian names, the African names, they can be hard to pronounce. Obi Ezigbo. Yeah, so I'm not sure what part of Africa the brother is from, but he was at a Division II school. His defensive coordinator came over to Oklahoma State, and guess what? Mike Gundy made a joke. They said, you were brilliant for bringing him over. He said, nah, I just didn't have a lot of NIL. I said, let me go to Division II guys. They're cheaper. So don't be surprised. I mean, Cam Ward isn't directly from Division II, and really he came from FCS, which is 1AA. Division II was under that. And then you got Division III and then NIA. But long story short story long, is not D1. Reese Poffenberger, the Miami Hurricane backup, that would have been the starter if it wasn't for Cam turning down the NFL. It's a lot of guys that think you got to go after Power 5 guys. You can get G5 guys, Group of 5, Boise State, the Appalachian State, the FIUs, because I like FIU's quarterback, maybe for Miami in the future, kid from Central, Jenkins. Long story short, talent is all over the place. A lot of these big schools think they're too good for guys from NIA and FCS, but you see a lot of FCS schools beating D1 schools. But not only that, NFL has always been drafting FCS guys, NIAI guys. You know what I mean? Tony Romo, whether you like him or not. The names go on and on and on. Tyreek Hill, even though he was D1, he got us in trouble and went to South Alabama, North Alabama. So, yeah, don't always look at the package. Look at the product. But that's going to be the show for the day. Please donate to the Cash App at the bottom, $TYRebel22. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ty Sports Picks 24. You see the picks, but for future references, the picks are always at the bottom in the description. So we got 49ers money line only. Don't take the points unless you do it live, but I still wouldn't trust it because Aaron Rodgers can come back, but he will not win. He has a history of losing at 49ers. Okay, also Cleveland money line in baseball, Cleveland Guardians, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Minnesota Twins. We are out of here. Monday Night Football, let's go.